I am so glad that you're joining me right here in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme, because tonight we're putting together a fun weeknight meal. And you know what? We're using some of the things that are actually in my emergency storage. And these things are going to come together very quickly. You can put this meal together for your family, and I promise you, they're going to be full. They're going to smile, not just because they're full, but because it's delicious. We're going to put together, first of all, some biscuits. And you know, in my house, the big guy likes biscuits, as well as my grandson. And you know what? So I'm practicing making sure that they are just perfect whenever I fix them. And tonight, you're going to learn how to do them quickly. Now, I have a new toy, and we're going to use that new toy to put those biscuits together. Also, we're going to make some beans. We're going to have beans with rice. We're going to have some salmon patties and greens. A nice, well-rounded meal that is going to fill the bellies of your family. And we're going to continue to build our strong families one meal at a time. I have a new toy, and I'm going to share that new toy with you. And as I share that new toy with you, I'm also going to prepare something right here in the kitchen that I think you'll enjoy. This is my new toy, and I can tell you that I absolutely love it. You know, the bad thing about going into Costco is that they always have things that you like. And I thought, okay, well, we picked up this little Ninja, and I am having a wonderful time with it. So we're going to play around with it and see if we can prepare something that we'll all enjoy. Right, we're going to prepare some delicious biscuits. And you know, we like biscuits around here. And sometimes I even use my biscuit dough in like chicken pot pies or some dumplings or whatever it may be. Now this is a half cup measure. So I'm putting in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is 6 half cups, which would be, of course, 3 cups of self-rising flour. Now, I'm going to add to this. Now, self-rising flour has salt in it, but I like to add just a little pinch of a few things extra. I'm adding in a pinch, and it's going to be about a half teaspoon of baking soda that I'm going to add extra. I'm also going to add in about a 1/4 cup of butter into this Ninja. Now I've cut my butter into little cubes. It's nice and cold, and I'm going to add this into the Ninja. I'm going to get some buttermilk, because that's my milk of choice. Some people prepare their biscuits with just regular milk, and that's fine, but I like buttermilk. So we're going to add in some buttermilk. All right, now I'm going to take a peek at it because I want to see if everything's nice and chopped. Yes, it is. So we're ready. At this point, I'm going to add in a cup of buttermilk. We're going to see how that goes. That's a half cup. Okay, so 1 cup of buttermilk. And if we need more, we'll add, because we want this to be very moist. So Let's pulse. Now keep this in mind. I'm looking at the texture of it from here, and I want it to be pretty moist when it comes out. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to touch it just to see how the moisture is. Yes, it's sticking together, but I think I'm going to add just a tiny bit more buttermilk. And if I get it just a little too soupy, I can take care of that out on the board. So let's get our top back on, give it another pulse. Okay, now we're going to go to the board. We're going to get everything out. We're going to take a look at it, and I want you to see the texture. Go out, and what I'm going to do is to just use my spatula, because these little blades are sharp, and you don't want to cut your finger. So there's the blades. I keep them in a place where I can see them because I don't want to accidentally cut myself. So that part is out. I'll use my spatula and bring the rest out so that we can get everything out on our surface. I've added just a tiny bit of flour there. I don't want to have to add too much flour, but you'll notice that this biscuit dough is very moist, and I like it that way. I like the feel of it, and it makes a very good biscuit dough. So here we go. We're going to get everything off the spatula because I don't think we'll need that again. I'm going to set that off to the side just in case. Now you can see I'm going to bring this together. I have a little flour on the side. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on it. I'm just going to knead it a little bit, just enough to get it started. You'll see it's moist, but it's not real sticky. I have it on a plastic surface. I don't know how many of you shop the Dollar Tree, but I buy these all the time, and it helps to keep things clean, and I can clean up pretty quickly. Of course, you can clean up quick anyway, but I'm just going to use my hands. Oh, that feels so good. So we've got that here. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to press it out into a rectangle. And then I'm going to take one side and fold. Fold and turn. Now I'm going to press again. I'm going to fold and turn. Press one more time. What we're doing, we're building layers. Layers in our biscuit. Okay, now, he's ready. I'm just going to get it pretty even, a nice rectangle for me. Now, here on the side, I have a bowl that I've placed some flour in, and my cutter is here. So I'm going to put my cutter in, see where it is, and go straight down and straight up, because I don't want to twist. I want those layers to stay in place. And I'm placing it on my skillet. I have my dual-handled cast iron. I try not to twist. You know, sometimes I do. I know I shouldn't, but it's just a bad habit. So, forgive me. My oven has been heating on 400 degrees, and we're going to place these biscuits into the oven for about anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes, and that depends on your oven. So what I would say to do is to just keep an eye on it. Your nose is going to tell you when it's ready, as well as the beautiful color will also tell you when it's ready. I'm preparing some pinto beans, and they're actually going to go next to some salmon patties. And you know, it's just a simple weeknight meal. So let's get it done. Now I've already soaked my beans overnight. I poured the water off, and I'm going to place them into this pot. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to cook and bring the water up to a boil twice, and pour that water off and put it back in, because what I'm doing is taking some of the gases that beans are known to work on those of us who are a little sensitive. So we're going to get rid of some of that gas. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to cover them with water. I'm just going to take the whole pot over to the sink and cover it. Then we'll bring it back over here and boil it. Now I'm using cold water, and I'm going to bring it up about 1 inch above the beans. Turn that off. I'm going to put it on the stove. As you can see, there are beans. I'm going to take it over, and you can even start to see some of the little bubbles. That's some of the gases coming off of those beans. So we're going to boil these twice.
Turn the oven off, the stove off?
No, I gotta go back.
I'll go cut the grass up and keep my scoops.
The biscuits are out of the oven, so I've been able to just turn the oven off, which is always a good thing, and it keeps things a little cooler. I've placed a top on the beans so that they'll come up to a boil faster. And one thing to keep in mind, do not put any salt in at this point, because what they will do is to toughen the skins of the beans, and we don't want that. We want nice, soft, creamy beans. So let's get these going. And you can see they're getting there. They're starting to move around. So that'll be ready to boil in just a little while. Okay, our beans are boiling. We're going to let them boil for 10 minutes. Then pour the water off and then do it again. I'm going to add in onions and peppers. I have just a little oil in the skillet, and what I'm doing is adding in some onions and some peppers. The only peppers I had were the little yellow ones, so that's what we're doing. We're adding those to the mixture. So we're going to put those in, and you're going to hear the sizzle. Now, we have already boiled the pinto beans twice for 10 minutes, poured that water off. So they're just sitting for just a moment so that I can get the onions and peppers ready so that we can add those into the mixture. Now I'm going to add in some black pepper. I'm putting in a pinch of black pepper, but notice I'm not adding too much salt. I'll put a little bit, but just a little, because I do not want my beans to be tough. So we'll taste along the way. Plus, the chicken broth that I'm going to use is homemade, and it does have a little bit of salt in it, so I have to be careful. And you know, we can't get around using a little bit of red pepper just to kick up the flavor. We are not looking for them to be hot. They are just going to have flavor. Now, the secret to a great pot of beans is adding in a tablespoon of brown sugar. Always 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. You'll be amazed. homemade chicken broth. What is it? Multitasking in the kitchen today, and I'm just kind of moving around. We got a lot of things going on. I've got biscuits that are in the oven that we've worked on, and I'm just checking on them because I don't want them to get too terribly brown, and I want to make sure they're not too brown on the bottom. So let's take these out, see how they're doing, and look at the bottoms. See, the bottoms are nice and brown, and I think I'm going to flip them just a minute. Some of them, those that aren't as brown as I'd like them, just kind of turn them over, and I'm going to sit them back in for about 2 minutes. But you can see they popped up very nicely, and they've got great layers. So remember, it's on 400. They've been in about 12 to 13 minutes. I'm going to give them about 3 more minutes for those other sides to get a little golden. Now let's take a look at those beans. I've added in some broth. I've also put in all the seasonings. You saw that. I'm going to add in just a little bit of baking soda. And what that's going to do is that it's going to react with the beans so that it can pull off any other excess gas that may be out there. I'm also going to add in some thyme. I want that pretty savory. And the thyme, of course, is just going to add that little extra bit of love to these beans. So we have, it's taken me a minute. I'm trying to use my grinder, but you know what? In the end, I'm going to put some in my hand, rub my hands together, and that's where we're going with the thyme. We're just going to make sure it's in the mixture. You can see that our bread is ready, and so there's our thyme. So let's rub it between our hands and get it ready, because we want to break it apart and get all of those oils into the mixture. Then we're going to bring the temperature up, and it's going to be good. We're going to add a little bit of garlic, and I'm using garlic powder, and rather than just minced garlic. And I did that purposely because of the way I started it. I didn't want the garlic to get too brown, because then it changes the flavor. And we didn't want that, of course. So we're continuing to just add little bits and pieces into these beans. And you know, as always, the recipe will be down in the description box. While those beans were on the stove and they were cooking, I thought, well, let's try out a biscuit. And I wanted to do that right here for you so that you could see the layers of that biscuit and also have a little taste of those biscuits. So let's do that. They're light. They had great layers. Okay, guys, we're going to give one to the big guy because it's really good. So let's see what he says.
Yum, yum.
I told y'all he didn't like being on camera, and you can see he doesn't even like talking on the camera, but that's okay. Oh, okay.
Doesn't have much flavor.
I am so glad that you spent time in the kitchen with me here at Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme, because you know our family loves to cook and to decorate and to chat right here in the kitchen. Now, you know, at Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme that we do things in the kitchen for the kitchen. And you know, it takes all of those things to make a home a warm and happy place, because our kitchen is the hub, the heart of the home. Now, the time that we spend in the kitchen should be loving, nurturing, encouraging, and guiding each other, our families, and our friends over delicious meals are just across the counter. Your kitchen should be the place where everyone wants to come, have a seat, and get a hug. You are invited always to join our family. And if you are new to this channel, then I hope you will subscribe before you leave. And I say thank you to my new subscribers, as well as thank you to those of you who have been on this journey for some time, because together we are building strong families, one meal at a time. Have a blessed and wonderful day.